Hey y'all, my name is Emma, and since I cannot be there in person today, I'm going to be doing a short introduction, which is just that I taught second grade this semester, and we learned a lot about the different phases of the moon. We did some interactive activities, some Kahoots, some reading lessons, and this was the S2E2 learning objective for the state of Georgia, which was to obtain, evaluate, and communicate information to develop an understanding of the patterns of the sun and moon and how the sun will affect the earth. And so I think this can kind of be a hard concept to grasp. I know when I was younger, you look at the moon and you kind of wonder where half of it went for some of the month. And so I think this is a good way to demonstrate and visualize using Oreos. And so the materials you'll need for this Oreo experiment would be a paper towel to clean off the Oreos with, a knife, a plastic knife, and then your Oreos, and then a blank sheet of paper to write the different phases on so that the students can align it with their Oreos. And so one way we described this activity to the students before we actually started the activity was to say that my face is the earth, this hand is the moon, and this hand is the sun. And the moon is going to sit directly in between the earth and the sun. And throughout the month, the moon is going to orbit around the earth. And the way the sunlight will hit the moon is going to change. And so that is why we're going to view it here differently, depending on the time of the month and where the moon is. And so you'll describe to your students that they're going to take these Oreos and split them in half and say, for a new moon, it's going to be a full shadow, so it's going to look like this. Now, the different phases of the month or of the moon are going to be a new moon, a waxing crescent, a waxing half, a waxing gibbous, a full moon, a waning gibbous, a waning half, and a waning crescent. And so you're going to show the students, like, say, this would be a full moon, but for a waxing crescent, you're just going to want a little sliver. So they're going to cut their little sliver and then take the rest of the white part off and leave it on their paper towel. And so this was a good way to show the students visually what the moon is going to look like and why. And so I think the students really benefited from this activity. And I would say the only hazards of the activity would possibly be if a student were, per se, allergic to the Oreos, or with the use of a plastic knife even, the students can get a little bit off task, so making sure that the adults in the room are very conscious of that. And then I would say the only thing that I would change would be to maybe put the students in groups to keep them on task and to use less Oreos, because some are going to break and some are going to not form correctly. And so definitely putting them in groups would maybe help with timing. And then always make sure you save a few Oreos for the students to eat after the activity so that they don't start eating the Oreos that they have just all touched, because they will be full of germs. And so here is the example of what we did with ours. And so we have the white sheet of paper, and you can see that throughout the month, these are going to be the different phases. And so, yeah, I think it was a great experiment, and it was a great way to demonstrate everything. So I definitely recommend doing this with your classes. Thank you.